Where are you right now? Get back home quickly. There's a big problem at home. Huh? Who is this? I don't recognize the voice.
I'm Catherine. It's been 3 years since I married my husband, and I've been a stay-at-home wife. My hobby is cooking, and I even have a chef's license. I occasionally use this certification to run cooking classes, which are pretty popular. My husband is friendly to everyone outside, but cold at home. We met through a mutual friend, dated for 2 years, and then got married. Our families and friends celebrated our union, and we had a memorable wedding. However, since our marriage, my husband's been distant and says hurtful things, which troubles me.
What do you want to eat for dinner tonight?
I don't care, whatever. After breakfast, he curtly replies and grabs his briefcase, heading for the front door.
Oh, are you off to work already? Have a good day.
Even when I see him off in the morning, he never looks back. Did I do something wrong? These thoughts often cross my mind while cleaning up after breakfast, but I never come to any conclusion, and time just passes. I finish most of the housework by noon and start preparing for the afternoon cooking class. The cooking class, which I run using my credentials, is one of my hobbies. All my students are lovely people. Today's menu includes homemade cheesecake, with plans to make several variations like pistachio and matcha.
Oh, I forgot to buy something. If I go now, I can still make it in time for shopping.
I quickly get ready and head out for some last-minute shopping. Upon reaching the supermarket, I bump into one of my students.
Oh, hi Miss Catherine. Are you shopping for today's class?
This young lady, Jessica, just recently joined the cooking class. But because of her friendly nature, the other students treat her like a little sister.
Hi there. Yes, I forgot a few things and came to grab them quickly. Oh. Let me help you. Can I come over to your place after this? Thank you. Sure, let's head back together. Yay!
Jessica and I finish our shopping and return home. She helps with the preparation as we wait for the other students to arrive. During that time, we chat about random things, and I also give her some relationship advice.
My boyfriend is older, and we've been together for over a year, but he's never invited me to his place. It's been bothering me, but I've decided to just wait until he's ready. Worrying all the time feels like a waste. I get it. I worry about my husband too, but thinking about it doesn't help, and I'd rather not dwell on it. Exactly. Instead, let's focus on the fun things in life. You're right. Thanks. I've been a bit down lately, but you've cheered me up.
I sigh, and Jessica looks concerned for a moment but soon smiles and encourages me. As we chat, the students begin to arrive one by one, and once everyone's here, we start the cooking class. I'm home. That evening, as I'm setting the dinner table, I notice my husband's return and greet him at the door.
Welcome home. Dinner's ready.
With that brief response, he loosens his tie and heads to the bathroom. Not again. I sigh, but remember my conversation with Jessica and muster some energy.
If you're going to take a bath, I'll bring you a change of clothes. Please put your laundry in the basket. You think I don't know that by now? Just go away.
Understood, I'm sorry. Is our relationship getting stale? The curt replies, without even making eye contact, left me feeling lonely. Throughout the meal, it's silent, with him constantly watching TV or on his smartphone.
How's work been lately? Going well? Oh, I made cheesecake in my cooking class today. Would you like some after dinner?
No.
By the way, I was thinking of checking out some furniture this weekend. Wanna come?
Working. Lately, our mealtime conversations have been like this, lacking any warmth. Even though we're sitting together, I just wish we could have even a trivial chat. The lack of conversation makes it harder to understand my husband's thoughts compared to before, and I've been feeling more anxious.
You know, for the next cooking class, I was thinking.
Before I could finish, my husband abruptly set down his fork.
Can you be quiet? I can't hear the TV. Do you just enjoy bothering me?
Clearly irritated, His words made me tense up.
Who do you think allows you, who's only good for housework and cooking, to even run these cooking classes? I'm tired from work. Can't I have some peace at home?
The harsh words, combined with his glare, deeply hurt me, but I chose to remain silent to avoid making things worse. The fact that the first time our eyes met today was when he was glaring was another blow.
Just stop it. Don't talk to me.
The rest of the silent meal felt longer, and I couldn't even taste the food. A month later, my husband stopped talking altogether. No good morning, no I'm off to work, nothing. He would even ignore me when I spoke to him. At this point, I desperately wanted to know the reason, but fear held me back from asking.
Good morning. Breakfast's ready.
I continued to speak to him, even though I knew he would ignore me. Maybe he's facing some problems at work and is just venting his frustrations on me. I tried to think positively, telling myself that perhaps he's just seeking comfort in this way. If I didn't think this way, I felt I'd mentally break.
Today in the cooking class, I kind of burnt something, so I had to redo it. Oh. Our neighbor, she finally gave birth. I was thinking of getting them a gift. Any ideas? Should we get you a new dress shirt soon? The last one got ruined.
His silence persisted for over 2 months. I couldn't even remember the sound of his voice. I felt like my spirit had broken. I began to wonder if we could even continue as a married couple. But without understanding why he became like this, I was filled with only loneliness and uncertainty about our future. Then, I fell ill and had to visit the hospital. I thought it was just a cold, but the test results were alarming, and I was told I needed a more detailed examination. They say illness can stem from one's state of mind. Could this be the result?
You'll need to be hospitalized for a few days for the detailed tests. Please prepare and come in on the scheduled day.
Understood. After receiving my test results, I was contemplating how to break the news to my husband. It would be great if the detailed examination shows no issues, but if they found something. My everyday life was already filled with anxiety, and this just added to my stress.
Welcome home. I need to talk to you about something.
I greeted my husband as usual when he returned from work, attempting to broach the topic. Yet, he continued to ignore me. However, since this had become the norm, I persisted.
I wasn't feeling well and went to the hospital. They said I need a detailed examination, so I'll have to be hospitalized for a few days. You'll have to manage the meals and laundry on your own during that time.
Despite discussing my health, his expression remained unchanged. It was clear that he wasn't even slightly perturbed.
You're really going to ignore me even now, huh?
Just, please, take care. It was evident that he truly didn't care about me anymore. I'd hoped that perhaps my health situation would elicit some concern from him. I was naive to think so. But there's no time for sorrow. There was a lot to take care of. Unlike my husband, my students were all genuinely concerned, and their kind words brought me to tears. I subsequently got admitted for the tests, and though they went smoothly, the results weren't favorable. I was told I needed surgery and was handed a consent form. Please have your husband sign this, the doctor advised. Those words felt like a dagger through my heart. I doubted he'd even listen to me, let alone sign the form. When I asked what to do if my husband couldn't sign, the doctor inquired, "Is he on a business trip or something?" "In that case, your parents can sign it." I decided that if my husband wouldn't sign, I'd ask my parents. When I returned home after a few days away, the house was a mess. Laundry and dishes were piled up. Even the trash from instant noodle cups was left out. I kind of expected this. Later, as usual, my husband returned home silently, took a seat, and began eating the meal I'd prepared. My heart raced with anxiety.
Welcome home. I was discharged today. It must have been hard without me, I'm sorry. You know, I've been told I need surgery. They've given me a consent form and I need your signature. Could you sign it? After dinner, I'll leave it here on the table.
Unsurprisingly, he continued to ignore me. Even after hearing that his wife needed surgery, he showed no signs of concern. Frustrated, I decided to directly confront him about his behavior.
Why are you ignoring me? Did I do something wrong? It's been about 3 months now. Just tell me why.
Perhaps my heightened emotions caught his attention because, in the middle of his meal, he got up and left the dining area. Why? Feeling broken, I burst into tears. I didn't know what to do anymore. Could we even call ourselves a married couple under these circumstances? I couldn't bear this painful situation any longer. Maybe it's me who needs to change. I tried to shift my focus to stay positive and eventually drifted to sleep. I needed the consent form signed for my surgery, so the next day, I decided to visit my parents' home. As I expected, my husband hadn't signed the consent form I left on the table. Without any hope or further disappointment, I methodically packed and left. Upon arriving at my parents' house, they greeted me with warm smiles. Seeing their smiles, tears welled up, and my parents, sensing something was amiss, comforted me. What happened? They asked with concern. I decided to confide in them about the current situation. After hearing everything, my parents were visibly angered. Divorce him and come back home now. My father's face turned as red as a beet. But since I don't know the reason, I'm unsure of how to act. When I mentioned this, my parents suggested, why not hire a private investigator? Even if there's no suspicion of an affair, knowing how he spends his time outside could provide clues as to why he's ignoring me. I accepted my parents' proposal and decided to have a private investigator look into my husband's activities. After consulting with the agency, they planned to conduct the investigation during my surgery and hospital stay. They would update me once my health stabilized. The agency was very cooperative and promised to get on it immediately. Discussing it with my parents and the investigator helped alleviate some of my anxiety. On the day of my hospitalization, my parents, who had signed the consent form, accompanied me. They waited outside the operating room the entire time, ensuring I felt at ease going into surgery. The operation was successful, and my recovery went smoothly. When I felt better and contacted the private investigator, they informed me that the report was ready. I promptly invited them to the hospital where, in the presence of my parents, I heard their findings. Based on our findings, your husband is having an affair. My heart raced at those words, and my hands began to tremble. Seeing my reaction, my mother comforted, "You don't have to hear this if you don't want to." But I insisted on knowing the details. If you ever feel overwhelmed, let us know. For now, I'll continue. The woman involved works at the cafe located on the ground floor of your husband's office building. They met there, and he seems to have lunch there almost daily. They frequently meet up after work and head to a hotel. We gathered substantial evidence quickly. It appears their relationship has been a topic of office gossip for over a year. Over a year? We've only been married for 3. So he started the affair less than 2 years into our marriage? It seems that way. When did you first notice a change in his behavior? Reflecting on it, I realized his demeanor had shifted after our first year of marriage. I hadn't suspected an affair then, but the timeline now made sense. I did notice he became distant after our first year. So, he had someone else by then. How foolish of me not to see it. Wanting to shield my parents from further distress, I put on a brave face, but tears betrayed me. They looked heartbroken beside me. I understand how you feel. With this much evidence, you can file for divorce. It's not my place to say, but you don't have to endure this any longer. The decision, of course, is yours. Looking at the photos again, I noticed my husband's laughter in the evidence. A sight I hadn't seen at home in ages. But now, it was directed at another woman. On closer inspection, I recognized her. Is that Jessica? I had overlooked her presence in the initial photos because I was focused on my husband. But now, I recognized her as Jessica. You've got to be kidding me. Do you know this woman? Yes. She's a student in my cooking class. I can't believe Jessica is the other woman. So you knew her. I'm truly sorry to deliver such distressing news, and it pains us too. However, it appears that this woman doesn't know your husband is married. In other words, she's unaware she's involved in an affair. Upon hearing this, a conversation I had with Jessica came to mind. I remember Jessica mentioning something about her boyfriend not taking her home. That makes sense. Being married, he can't exactly bring her home. We also did some digging on her. She has a good reputation. Given that your cooking class was on hiatus during our investigation, we never suspected you'd know her. What do you plan to do? The idea of Jessica having an affair was hard to swallow, but I felt the need to speak with her. If she knew and still chose to get involved, I'd want to hold her accountable. Regardless, I had made up my mind about my husband. I'm gonna divorce him. Immediately. And I'd like to speak with Jessica first. Depending on our conversation, I'll decide my next move concerning her. Upon hearing my decision, my parents encouraged me to move back home without delay. The investigator, with a warm smile, reassured, "We'll support you in any way we can." I felt stronger knowing I wasn't alone. After my discharge from the hospital, I seized the opportunity when my husband was at work to pack up my belongings. The state of our home was pitiful. But that no longer mattered to me. I packed only the essentials and left the house, leaving behind the business card of a divorce attorney on the table. Outside, my parents' car awaited, and I rode with them back to their house. 2 weeks later, my husband called. Just seeing his name on my phone's screen made my heart race and my hands tremble. But I picked up the call with unwavering resolve. "Hello? Where are you? Get back home now. The house is a mess." Hearing his voice after so long, it sounded harsher than ever. "Who is this? I don't recognize the voice." That comment seemed to infuriate him further. "I'm busy. Please don't disturb me. You think you can make a fool out of me? Get back here and clean up." "I don't recognize the voice, so I'll hang up now." I immediately ended the call. I once yearned to hear his voice, to speak with him. Now, just hearing it repelled me. After hanging up, the weight lifted off my shoulders, and I let out a deep sigh. At that moment, there was a knock on my room door. My mother peeked in, smiling gently, suggesting we have some tea. As we chatted over tea, the home phone rang. Picking it up, it was, unsurprisingly, my husband again. "Oh Bob, hi there. It's been a while. What's up?" That's my mom. She handles situations with such composure. And there's my dad, looking furious like a storm brewing. "It's been a while. Is Catherine with you?" "Yes, she's here." As I expected. Actually, Catherine left with her belongings. She's adamant about getting a divorce. I want to talk things out, but discussing with Catherine is fruitless. "Could you please ask your daughter to come back?" "Yes, I'm aware of the divorce situation. Could you agree to it?" "What? What are you talking about? I don't want a divorce. And, for the record, Catherine's the one at fault here. She left without doing any housework. Don't you think she's failed as a housewife?" "I don't think so at all. But if you feel that way, isn't that reason enough to get a divorce?" If she just takes care of the house, I'd be willing to give her another chance." "You've really lost your morals, haven't you?" "Excuse me? From what I gather, you just want someone to do the chores, right? Why not hire a maid? Plus, not signing the surgery consent, not visiting during surgery or her stay at the hospital. What's your deal? Not supporting your wife during hard times makes you less of a man and more of a monster." "Well, I've been swamped with work." "That's not it, is it? You found it bothersome, right? And now, with the house in a mess since there's no one to clean, you're searching for Catherine? She's not your maid, you know. Get it together." "Hey, you piece of work, I'm surprised you even dared to call." "What? Letting my daughter marry you was the biggest mistake of my life. What do you think you're doing to someone's daughter? Agree to the divorce now. Don't you dare come near my daughter ever again. Got it?" My father, unable to hold back his anger any longer, snatched the phone from my mother and gave him a piece of his mind. Then, with a slam that made me think the phone might break, he hung up. Dad, be careful. You'll break the phone.
Sorry. I got carried away. Witnessing my parents' exchange, I couldn't help but chuckle. My husband called several times after that. His name on the screen now only evoked disgust.
Hello? Hey, it's me. When are you coming back?
Did he forget our conversation? He acted as if nothing happened.
Who is this? Stop playing games. I reached out for a reason. Didn't you want to talk to me? I don't recognize your voice. And I don't intend to talk to someone like that. Acting high and mighty now, are you? If you come back now, I might consider talking. Hurry up and clean up.
It became clear with his comments. He surely looked down on me. More than a wife, he sees me as a maid.
No, I'm fine without the conversation. Enough of your nonsense. How much more trouble do you plan on causing? If you keep this up, I'll really divorce you. Got it? You've always been dependent on me, so I doubt you can manage. I'm glad you're willing to consent to the divorce.
I realized then that I could no longer harbor any affection for my husband. I wanted the divorce finalized soon.
That's it, huh? You've finally lost it. You can't survive without me.
Why on earth did I marry someone like this? I can't even remember what I saw in him.
It would have been better if you'd kept your mouth shut. If that's all you can say, maybe you should just sew it shut, huh? Well, goodbye.
I felt this would drag on for a while. Today, I was set to talk with Jessica. This matter is also essential. I prepared myself and headed to the meetup spot with Jessica.
Mrs. Catherine.
Upon seeing me, Jessica waved with a bright smile. I couldn't sense that Jessica knew about the situation.
Sorry to keep you waiting. It's been a while. It has. I'm so happy to see you. How's your health? Are you okay?
Since our last cooking class, concerned Jessica inquired about my well-being.
Thank you. I'm much better. I will need regular doctor visits though. I'm glad you're better. But please take care. So, you mentioned wanting to talk about something. What's up?
We decided to settle in a cafe and ordered drinks. Then, I broached the main topic.
Jessica, you told me about your boyfriend before. Is his name by any chance Bob?
Upon hearing this, Jessica looked shocked.
Yes. How did you know Bob?
Jessica's eyes widened in surprise. Well, he's my husband. When I said that, Jessica seemed frozen in place. There was a palpable tension in the air, and I noticed Jessica's hand, holding her drink, trembling slightly.
What? Bob? Your husband? Bob is...
Jessica seemed utterly taken aback. From her reaction, it was clear she hadn't known.
I guess you really didn't know. I only found out recently that my husband was cheating on me.
Hearing the word cheating, Jessica's face started to pale.
Cheating? You're saying I was involved in an affair? But maybe it's just someone with the same name.
I swiftly placed a photo in front of Jessica. She picked it up with apprehension and, upon seeing it, started to cry.
I was deceived. This is awful. I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
I didn't feel any anger towards Jessica as she sobbed uncontrollably. Rather, my rage towards my husband was bubbling up, ready to explode.
It's okay, Jessica. It's not your fault, and I don't blame you. I didn't want to hurt you, but I thought we needed clarity. I'm so sorry.
I tried to comfort the sobbing Jessica. I knew revealing this would hurt her. But had she known and been defiant, I would have been angered.
I'm thinking of getting a divorce. What about you? I'm breaking up with him. Everything's clear now. I'm so sorry for what you've been through. Even though I didn't know, I can't imagine how hard it was for you.
Watching Jessica apologize through her tears, my own eyes welled up. After a while, Jessica calmed down, and we discussed our next steps.
I plan to proceed with the divorce. I'm definitely ending it with Bob. I'm just so mad. I know it might seem strange for me to offer,
but I can provide lots of evidence of his infidelity. Let's make him pay for this.
Seeing Jessica, also a victim, willing to help, made me somewhat envious of her resilience. I placed my drink on the table and extended my hand towards Jessica.
Thank you. Let's do this. Yes.
Jessica grasped the hand I offered, and we shared a firm handshake. The next day, I decided to visit a lawyer's office. If Bob didn't agree to the divorce, we might have to go to mediation. Wanting to be proactive, I took all the evidence, including what I got from Jessica, to the attorney. After consultation, they said the evidence was sufficient and suggested sending a formal notice and moving forward with the divorce. I agreed. 3 days later, Bob called as usual. Until then, I'd been ignoring his calls, but I picked up this time.
Hello? Finally. You've been ignoring me. I told you I don't want a divorce. You have to come back. The house is a mess, and we're getting complaints from the neighbors. It's all your fault. Get back here now.
From his tone, it seemed he hadn't received the notice yet. Well, it was probably too soon for that. I responded while mulling this over.
I said I want a divorce. After all this silence, don't expect me to jump at your every whim. Plus, there's more you're not aware of.
As I said this, I sensed Bob's unease.
What the hell are you talking about? I've done nothing wrong. Oh, Bob? Long time no see.
While Bob was rambling, I handed the phone to Jessica. As it happened, we were having coffee at that moment, and she had decided to take the call.
What? Jessica?
Bob's shock was evident even over the phone.
Yeah, it's Jessica. I'm currently having coffee with your wife. What are you talking about, Jessica? It's pathetic. Everything's out in the open, including the fact that you deceived me. And after hearing from your wife about how you've been neglecting her, especially when she was sick, I think you're just the worst. The fact that I even spent a second with someone like you makes me sick. Stay away from me. Don't you ever contact me again. Go to hell, you jerk.
Jessica's demeanor was something I'd never seen before, her tone and way of speaking so unlike her usual self. She's kinda scary when she's angry, I thought to myself with an oddly detached sense of amusement.
Hey! What's up with you, Jessica? You're not your usual self. Come on, be your upbeat and positive self like always. Shut up, loser. By now.
Saying that, Jessica's face reverted back to her usual cheerful and cute self as she handed back my phone.
Here you go.
What a refreshing face she had. It even made me feel a bit lighter.
You get it now, right? I think you'll be hearing from the lawyer soon.
Saying that, my husband, unable to hide his panic, had a quivering voice.
A lawyer? No, you got it wrong, Catherine. Jessica was just a fling. You know how they say cheating is a mark of a man's prowess? I was just trying that out. I mean, of course, you're my number one, Catherine. And look, I wasn't ignoring you. Yeah, my hearing's been bad lately, and sometimes I can't hear properly. So, that's why I might not have heard about the doctor's appointment and stuff. I just broke up with Jessica, and you're the only one for me.
The more he spoke, the more disgusting he sounded. His voice was mixed with panic, and he even used an overly familiar tone with me. His lame excuses almost made me hang up.
Do you know what prowess means? It means the energy and resilience to see things through and a dependable character. So, in other words, someone like you, who doesn't have a shred of prowess, has no right to cheat. Well, I think anyone who cheats lacks prowess anyway. Oh, and don't contact me directly anymore. From now on, communicate through the lawyer. Honestly, you're just gross. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Goodbye. Wait. I'm sorry. I apologize. I won't ignore you anymore, and I won't cheat anymore.
I didn't really pay attention to his continued pleas since I had conveyed what I needed to. So, I hung up. There was no need to engage with him anymore. Looking over at Jessica, she was laughing out loud. That felt good, didn't it? Yes. And from now on, just call me Catherine. We're friends now, right?
Hearing that, Jessica's eyes became watery.
Catherine, I'm so sorry for everything. I adore you. While the whole thing with that jerk is a dark chapter in my life, I'm grateful that it brought me closer to you.
She hugged me, and I realized that to me, she was like a beloved younger sister. When I got home and informed my parents about the situation, both seemed relieved. I apologized for causing them concern, but they told me it's natural to worry about family. Afterward, when the formal notice from the lawyer reached my husband, he had no choice but to reluctantly agree to the divorce. He couldn't argue since we had so much evidence against him, and he agreed to pay the settlement. When the lawyer visited his place, it was so filthy and stank that they decided to discuss matters outside. Some nosy neighbors overheard their conversation. And since one of them was notorious for spreading gossip, soon the whole neighborhood knew. My ex-husband, finding it unbearable to stay, moved back with his parents. Later, I learned from his parents, who called to apologize, that he had quit his job and was now living as a recluse. As for me, after finalizing the divorce, I resumed my cooking classes and am enjoying it. Jessica quit her job at the cafe she was working at and is planning to open her own place. It's been her dream for years, and she's considering having me work with her. Looking back, I wonder why I put up with that kind of life. If I had known how freeing and happy life would be after divorce, I probably would have left him sooner. I spend most of my days laughing with my parents, and life is blissfully joyful.